The first thing I remember about the planet Lyra 7 was the color of the sky. It wasn't blue like Earth. It shimmered in layers, soft violet near the horizon and deep silver higher above, like someone had spilled stardust across the atmosphere. When the sunlight hit the floating crystal clouds, the entire sky glittered. And that was the moment I realized something else. I was the only human there. My name is Ethan Carter, and I was 16 years old when I accidentally became the first human student at the Lyra Royal Academy, a school meant exclusively for the daughters of the galaxy's most powerful alien clans. In other words, I was a human boy surrounded by alien girls, and one of them, the princess of the entire planet, couldn't stop watching me. A rival. 2 months earlier, I had been living a perfectly normal life on Earth. Normal meant boring. School, homework, soccer practice, and the occasional late-night gaming session. Nothing special ever happened in my small town. Until the night the stars moved. I had been sitting in my backyard when a bright streak crossed the sky. At first I thought it was a meteor, but it didn't disappear. It stopped. Then it came down. The craft that landed behind the old woods looked like something out of a dream, smooth silver metal shaped like a teardrop, glowing with faint blue lines. Before I could even decide whether to run or call someone, the door opened. A tall alien woman stepped out. Her skin shimmered pale blue, and her eyes glowed softly like tiny moons. She looked surprised to see me. "Human?" she asked in perfect English. I nodded slowly. She tapped a device on her wrist and frowned. "This is unexpected." "What is?" I asked. "You were not scheduled." "Scheduled for what?" She studied me carefully. "For transport." I laughed nervously. "Yeah, I definitely didn't sign up for that." But the woman tilted her head. "The signal brought us here. The Academy requires candidates. The beacon responded to you." "Beacon?" She pointed to my chest. I looked down. The strange silver pendant my grandfather had given me, the one I'd worn for years, was glowing. The Royal Academy. 2 days later, I stepped out of the alien transport ship onto Lyra 7. The Royal Academy was enormous. Crystal towers floated above circular platforms connected by glowing bridges. Gardens of bioluminescent plants covered the courtyards, and elegant alien students walked through the halls in colorful uniforms. They all stopped when they saw me, because every single student was female, and none of them were human. Some had violet skin and silver hair. Others had faint glowing patterns across their arms. A few even had small horns or shimmering wings. And they were all staring at me. Whispers spread instantly. "A human. Why is he here? Is he a new species ambassador? No, he's just a boy." I suddenly felt very small. The alien woman who had brought me, Professor Kilira, guided me forward calmly. "Students," she announced, her voice echoing through the courtyard, "this is Ethan Carter of Earth. He has been selected by the Beacon of Selection." The whispering grew louder. The Beacon of Selection was apparently an ancient device that chose individuals with rare potential from across the galaxy. No human had ever been selected before, which meant nobody had any idea what to do with me. First day. My first class felt like stepping into another universe. The classroom had floating desks, holographic star maps, and windows that showed the rings of Lyra 7's twin moons. 20 alien girls sat around the room, and every single one of them was staring at me. A girl with shimmering green skin leaned forward curiously. "So, humans don't have scales?" "No," I said. "Or tail fins?" "No." "Interesting." Another girl with glowing eyes raised her hand. "Can humans survive vacuum?" "Definitely not." Several students looked disappointed. But then the classroom doors opened again, and everything changed. The princess. She entered quietly, but the entire room immediately stood up. Even the professor. The girl who walked in had long silver hair that flowed like liquid light. Her skin was a soft lavender color, and her eyes glowed faint gold. She wore a royal uniform decorated with a small star-shaped crest. Professor Kilira bowed slightly. Princess Alira, welcome. The princess nodded politely. But then she saw me, and she froze. Her golden eyes widened with curiosity. Professor, she said softly, is that the human? Yes, Your Highness. The princess walked slowly toward my desk. Every step was careful, graceful. She stopped right in front of me. For several seconds, she didn't say anything. She just looked at me, studied me, like I was the most fascinating thing she had ever seen. Finally, she spoke. So, you're Ethan. I nodded awkwardly. Yeah. Her eyes brightened slightly. You look different than the historical images. I guess. She tilted her head thoughtfully. Then she smiled. I am Princess Alira of Lyra. The entire class watched in silence, because something strange was happening. The princess, future ruler of the entire planet, couldn't stop looking at the human boy. The attention. Over the next few weeks, something unusual became obvious. Princess Alira kept finding reasons to be near me. At lunch, she sat across from me. In the library, she chose the table next to mine. During star navigation class, she volunteered to be my partner. At first, I thought it was coincidence. Then, the other students started noticing. One afternoon, a purple-haired girl named Tari leaned toward me. You realize the princess has looked at you more in 1 week than she looks at most people in a year. I nearly choked on my drink. What? Tari grinned. She's curious about you. Well, I'm curious about all of this, I said, gesturing around the academy. But the truth was, Alira really did seem fascinated. She asked endless questions about Earth. What are oceans like? Do humans truly explore unknown places just for adventure? Is it true your species once traveled across an entire planet without knowing what was beyond the horizon? Her excitement reminded me of a kid discovering a new world. And, in a way, that's exactly what she was doing. The training. The academy didn't just teach science and diplomacy. It trained future leaders, which meant combat simulations, strategy challenges, survival tests. That's where things got difficult. Most of the alien students had natural abilities. Some could manipulate energy. Others had enhanced strength or speed. I had human determination. During the first training trial, we had to cross a floating obstacle field while carrying energy cores. Several students used abilities to glide across the platforms. I slipped on the second jump and nearly fell into the gravity pit. But I kept going, step by step, slowly, painfully. When I finally reached the end, I collapsed on the ground. Everyone else had finished minutes earlier. I expected laughter, but instead I heard applause. I looked up. Princess Alira was clapping. Her golden eyes shone with admiration. You never gave up, she said. That is remarkable. I shrugged. Humans do that sometimes. The secret weeks passed. The academy slowly got used to having a human student. But something else was happening behind the scenes. The beacon that had chosen me began reacting strangely. It glowed brighter whenever I approached it. And one night, the academy alarms went off. Professor Kilira summoned me immediately. The beacon chamber was filled with glowing energy. And the princess was already there. What's happening? I asked. Kilira looked serious. The beacon is activating a second phase. Alira stepped closer to the ancient device. It has not done this in thousands of cycles. The crystal at the center pulsed with light. Then a holographic message appeared above it. An ancient alien figure spoke. The chosen human carries the key of unity.
Kilira gasped.
That is impossible. I blinked. The key of what? Alira turned toward me slowly. The key of unity is a legend, she said. A power meant to connect different civilizations. The hologram continued. When the galaxy stands divided, the key shall appear in unexpected form. Then the message vanished. The room fell silent. Everyone stared at me, because somehow, the beacon had chosen a human boy to unite alien worlds. The crisis, unfortunately, not everyone liked that idea. 3 days later, hostile ships appeared near Lyra 7. A rival alien faction had learned about the beacon's message. They believed the human should not exist. Their fleet demanded one thing: deliver the human boy. The academy prepared for evacuation. Students were being transported off-world. But Princess Alira refused to leave. I will not abandon my world. She turned to me. And neither will you. Her eyes were fierce now, not curious.
Determined.
We must prove the beacon chose correctly. The final test, the rival fleet launched drones toward the academy. Defense systems activated, but some slipped through. Chaos erupted across the floating platforms. Students ran for safety. Energy blasts lit up the violet sky. I wasn't a soldier, but I knew one thing. The beacon was reacting to me. So I ran toward the chamber. Alira followed. What are you doing? She asked. I think it's waiting for something. The beacon glowed brighter as we approached. Then suddenly, a wave of light burst outward. Not destructive. Harmonizing. The energy spread across the sky like a luminous web. Every ship above Lyra 7 froze. Their weapons shut down. Engines powered off. A communication signal opened across all frequencies. The beacon was broadcasting a message of unity, and somehow it was using my presence to amplify it. The rival fleet stopped attacking. Their ships slowly withdrew. Peace restored by a human boy standing beside an alien princess. The ending weeks later, the academy returned to normal. But everything had changed. The beacon was quiet again. Its task completed for now. One evening, I sat in the academy gardens watching the silver clouds drift across the sky. Princess Alira sat beside me. You changed our world, she said softly. I didn't do anything, I replied. You did what humans do, she said. You tried, even when you did not understand. She looked at me again. That same curious gaze she had from the first day. Ethan, when I first saw you, I could not stop watching. Yeah, everyone noticed. She laughed quietly. But it was not because you were strange. Then why? Her golden eyes reflected the starlight. Because I felt something the beacon must have felt. And what's that? She smiled. Hope. We sat in silence for a moment. Then she stood. Come, human boy. Where? Tomorrow we begin advanced leadership training. I groaned. That sounds dangerous. She grinned playfully. Good. Then she looked back at me once more. And just like the first day, the princess couldn't take her eyes off the human boy. Because somewhere deep in the stars, the galaxy had realized something surprising. The smallest, most unexpected person could change everything. And this was only the beginning of Ethan Carter's story, Among the Stars.